Hi everybody, my name's Rebecca and welcome back to my bookish travels. A little bit late for my next year in review video. I'm gonna have to probably do a bunch of them over the course of the next few days. I ended up getting really sick last week, and on Thursday I ended up losing my voice. I sounded like the chipmunk off of Alvin and the Chipmunks, and it wasn't even a pretty chipmunk. It was not adorable at all. Mind you, people did laugh when they heard my voice, but anyway, I am here to do my completed series for 2022. I'm very impressed. I set myself a goal to complete 5 series off of that list, and I actually did 18. I'm so happy. I do not remember finishing this amount of series in a year in a very long time. So in total, I ended up reading and rereading a total of 69 books, which is just wild to me. But anyway, here we go. Let's jump into them. The first one I finished was The Secret Life of Tristan Scott. I just had to finish the last book in this series, but overall, I am glad that I finished it. Heartbreaking of a series as it was, I'm glad that I, ran the race and I read it till the last book. The next one is I'll Be in Charge of Your Body, and I ended up rereading, I think 3 of the books in this series, and then I read to complete the last 2 for a total of the 5 books in this series. Next, I read the final one in the Sarah's Scribbles, at least this far. If there's more that get released, fantastic. But so far, I have read to completion this series by finishing the most recent book that was released. I ended up listening to both volumes of Arabian Nights on Audible, and the first one was really good. I felt like there was some definite progression and a path to follow. Whereas the second volume definitely felt very stuttered. I don't even know how to explain it, but I had a hard time following the direction that the story was going in for the second volume, but I'm glad that I finished this series. The next is the trilogy Love Lines. I listened to this on Audible and I highly recommend. This is probably in my top 3 for the year. If you're going to listen to an audiobook series or you're going to read one of the series that I finished, this is in the top 3, guys. Love Lines was such an amazing 90s, 80s, 90s rom-com vibe in an audio format, and I loved it so much. Highly recommend. If you guys have not heard dual narration, this is just peak beautifulness. My friend's mom recommended for me to read Crimson Elite, and I ended up listening to it on Audible. I did all 4 books this year, and definitely was not what I was expecting to read, but I will say that I actually did very much enjoy it. I don't think it was top 3 material for the year, but I will say that this definitely was one that I could get through very quickly and did enjoy getting the full complete story arc of the 4 books. Next, I completed the Oracle series, both books 1 and 2. I will say that 2 was disappointing, but the first one could not stop. My mom and I definitely powerhoused through that entire book. That audio version is so well done, and Joshua Jackson is such an amazing narrator. I loved the first one so much. Highly recommend. If you guys are looking for something a little bit darker, try Oracle. I ended up rereading the first and completing the second in the duology Unable to Touch the One I Love. I ended up reading and rereading at least one of these, so I did 8 books in the Enola Holmes series to complete the entire story arc, at least where it's been published thus far. I love Enola Holmes. My mom and I listened to it so much together. This was definitely one of our top stories that we listened to together for 2022. I highly recommend, if you guys have not immersed yourself in the Enola Holmes world, the audio versions are brilliantly done. And they're also probably on my top 3 listens for the year. I ended up listening to both books in the From Paris with Love series. I listened to all 3 books in the Holiday Brothers series. This was such a fun Christmas time listen, and I will tell you, I did not listen to it at Christmas. I actually listened to it in like September, October, and it just worked so well. I had so much fun listening to it. I read all 10 volumes of Happy Marriage. I reread the first, completed the second for Tall, Dark, and Eligible. I listened to all 10 books in the Wind Dragons MC, and this is another one that my friend's mom recommended for me to read, and I loved it so much. My favorite of this is actually Dirty Ride, which is Irish's story for this motorcycle club series. I just really love Irish as a character, and I was so happy he got a book for himself, and it just really worked for me. I reread the first and completed the second to complete the Montanari Marriages series. I reread the first 2 and completed the third in The Legacies of Powerful Men. I reread the first 3 and completed the last 2 in the I'll Teach You Everything manga series. And last but not least, I reread 2 and completed the other 2 books in the Society Wedding series, and this one was actually really fun. I completely was not expecting to enjoy them as much as I did, but I definitely found that with reading this series that some of my ratings changed a bit with some of the books. All in all, I am very happy with the books that I completed, and I feel quite successful getting these closed off because it's one thing that I very much struggle with is completing series, and this year, I feel like I actually put some emphasis on it, and I feel kind of accomplished. It's kind of a nice feeling. So again, just to mention my top 3 listens, and I'm going to put them more grouped together as series. So the completed series where overall I loved more than I hated, I would say top of the list is going to be Enola Holmes. I loved all of the books in the Enola Holmes series. Highly recommend. If you guys are looking to do something with your kids and they're not big readers, try doing the audiobooks because the narration is just gorgeous. Number 2 on the list is definitely Love Lines. I loved Love Lines so much. It's not even funny. It was beautiful. And again, going with the series based on loving more than I hated, number 3 is definitely going to be Wind Dragons MC. I loved pretty much every single book, and it was so amazing, and I had so much fun reading them. So let me know down below, what did you guys complete for series in the year of 2022? What were your top 3 of those series that you're like, I highly recommend this series. It was brilliant from start to finish. Feel free to share down below. I would love to talk more with you guys. And if you have any questions about the books I completed, feel free to put that in the comment section down below and we can chat more there. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you then. Bye!